Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a story from 1917. Now, this isn't just any story. Author Louis Fischer was told by Gandhi himself that this was the real beginning of India's struggle for independence. In fact, he called it the turning point of his entire life. So, how did it all begin? Well, it wasn't with some grand declaration or a violent rebellion. Nope. It all started with the quiet, stubborn determination of a single farmer from a place Gandhi had, believe it or not, never even heard of. Okay, picture this. It's 1916. At an Indian National Congress meeting in Lucknow, Mahatma Gandhi gets approached by a man named Rajkumar Shukla. This guy is a farmer from Champaran, poor, kind of gaunt-looking, and he can't read or write. But, and this is the important part, he was described as being incredibly resolute. Shukla had just one mission, to get Gandhi to come to his district and see the injustice the farmers were facing. Now, Gandhi had a packed schedule, but Shukla, he was relentless. For weeks, he was like Gandhi's shadow, following him to his ashram across the entire country with one simple, constant plea. Please just fix a date. You know, that incredible persistence, it actually worked. Gandhi was so impressed by this farmer's tenacity and conviction that he finally said, okay, I have a meeting in Calcutta on such and such a date. Come and meet me and take me with me from there. And just like that, the journey was on. So when Gandhi finally gets to Bihar, his first move wasn't to lead a big protest or make a fiery speech. That wasn't his style. True to form, his first priority was just to get the facts. He started this methodical, super careful investigation to really understand what these peasants were going through. So these farmers in Champaran, they were all sharecroppers. And what that means is they didn't pay rent with cash. Instead, they were stuck in this really old and frankly deeply unfair deal with the British landlords who owned all the best farmland in the area. Okay, now this slide breaks down just how cruel this whole system was. So first, the landlords forced the tenants to plant indigo on their land and then surrender the entire harvest as rent. But then, and here's the twist, Germany develops synthetic indigo, which basically makes the natural crop worthless. So what do the landlords do? They flip the script. They offer to release the farmers from this deal, but only if they pay them a bunch of money as compensation. I mean, it was just blatant extortion. Now, you'd think Gandhi would go straight for the British landlords, right? Nope. Before that, he tackled a problem a little closer to home. He found out that local lawyers were charging these terrified peasants huge fees just to take their cases. He called them out on it, realizing that the biggest enemy wasn't just the British. It was the crippling fear that paralyzed the peasants and let everyone else take advantage of them. So as Gandhi keeps digging, collecting evidence, and talking to more and more farmers, the British authorities start getting really antsy. They do not want this outsider stirring up trouble. So they serve him with an official notice. The message was clear: get out of Champaran now. But Gandhi had zero intention of leaving. He takes the notice, signs the receipt, and then writes right on it that he's going to disobey the order. Talk about a power move. This was a direct act of civil disobedience, and of course, it landed him a summons to appear in court. The showdown was set for the town of Motihari. The next morning, something absolutely incredible happened. Word had spread that a Mahatma, a great soul, who was there to help them, was now in trouble with the authorities. So what did the peasants do? Thousands of them just started walking. They flooded the streets around the courthouse in Motihari, not to be violent, but just to show their support. The British were completely caught off guard. I mean, as the slide says, the government was baffled. The officials were powerless against this massive, peaceful crowd. It got so out of hand, they actually had to ask Gandhi for his help to control the people. Of course, the trial had to be postponed. And right here, this is the crucial point. This spontaneous demonstration, that was the first real victory. It wasn't about a court case yet. It was about the peasants showing up in solidarity and for the first time shaking off that deep-seated fear of the British. It was a massive signal that the power dynamics were starting to change. Well, faced with this undeniable proof of public support, what could the British do? The prosecutor asked the judge to just drop the case. Gandhi was released without even having to post bail. Then an official commission was set up to investigate the sharecroppers' complaints, and get this, Gandhi was named as the sole representative for the peasants, a huge win. So the commission finds mountains of evidence against the big planners. It's undeniable. The question becomes, okay, what about refunds? The landlords, probably expecting a fight, ask Gandhi how much they should pay back. He asks for 50%. They come back with a measly offer of just 25%. And then, to everyone's total shock, Gandhi immediately says, "Done. I accept." And this is where we see the absolute brilliance of his strategy. See, for Gandhi, the amount of money was never really the point. The real victory was making the British landlords give back any part of the money, because in doing so, they also had to give up part of their prestige. For the first time ever, the landlords were forced to admit they were wrong. The peasants saw it, they saw they had rights, and they had defenders. This whole Champaran episode became a massive turning point. It went way beyond just a refund or an unfair contract. It was a fundamental lesson in courage and self-reliance that would basically become a blueprint for the rest of the country. I mean, think about what the peasants of Champaran really learned. It was so much more valuable than any money they got back. They learned that they could be free from fear. They learned that they actually had rights. They saw the incredible power of their own unity, and they learned firsthand what civil disobedience and self-reliance looked like in action. And what about Gandhi's perspective? It was actually very simple. He explained later that he didn't do anything extraordinary. He just declared that the British could not order him around in his own country. This was the very first triumph of organized, non-violent civil disobedience in modern India. It proved that the British Raj, with all its might, could be challenged and beaten on moral grounds. So when you look back at the whole thing, the real takeaway is that true freedom for those farmers didn't come from a courtroom or a financial settlement. It had to come from within. The very first and most important step on their journey to liberation was conquering their own fear.